the black-eyed visitors who knocked at midnight. The clock struck midnight. A cool wind whispered through the empty streets of Willow Creek, a small, forgotten village nestled deep in the woods. The houses, mostly old and weathered, stood silent under a shroud of fog. No lights flickered behind the windows. No footsteps echoed on the cracked pavement. Then, a knock. Soft. Gentle, almost hesitant. At first it was easy to ignore, a stray animal maybe, or the wind playing tricks, but the knocking returned, sharp, deliberate and chilling. At the doorstep of the Miller's old farmhouse stood two children, small, pale and unnervingly still. Their eyes, completely black, void of any colour or emotion, stared unblinkingly into the night. They asked to be let in. Their voices were soft, almost hypnotic. "We're lost. Please let us in." No one in Willow Creek had seen children for years. The village had been slowly dying for decades. But these children, these black-nosed visitors, were something else entirely. And Mrs. Miller, unable to resist, opened the door. The moment she did, a cold chill swept through the room. She never spoke again. The next morning, the Miller family home was empty. No sign of struggle, no note, no footprints leading away, just silence. And the knocking began to spread. Willow Creek had always been a quiet village, the kind where everyone knew everyone else. Its population had dwindled to a few dozen souls by the time strange things began to happen. Sheriff Emma Collins had grown up in Willow Creek, returning after years away to find a place that felt like a ghost town. She was the only law enforcement officer left, tasked with protecting a village that was slowly vanishing. When reports of black-eyed children knocking on doors started coming in, Emma was skeptical. A prank? Some elaborate hoax? But the reports were too consistent. People described the children the same way: pale faces, black eyes, voices that sounded both pleading and otherworldly. Those who answered the door were never seen again. The local library held old newspapers and diaries. Emma began to dig into the village's history, searching for answers. What she uncovered was chilling. Decades ago, children had disappeared from Willow Creek under mysterious circumstances. Locals whispered about shadow beings, entities that came at night, stealing the innocent away. The legends said these beings had black eyes, and that once they knocked, there was no escape. Emma's investigation deepened. She interviewed those who had survived encounters, but they struggled to recall the events clearly. Memories were fragmented, blurry, and accompanied by a sense of overwhelming dread. Sleep was elusive. Dreams were invaded by black shapes, whispering promises of darkness and silence. Determined to uncover the truth, Emma set up cameras around the village's most vulnerable houses. She organised night patrols and urged residents to stay indoors after sunset. On the third night, the cameras captured something horrifying. Two black-eyed children appeared at the Andersons' front porch. They knocked in perfect unison, their small hands tapping softly against the wood. When no one answered, the children did not leave. Instead, they seemed to dissolve into the air, vanishing without a trace. At the porch, strange symbols were etched into the wood. No one could decipher them, but the markings pulsed faintly under the moonlight, like a heartbeat. That same night, Emma's deputy, Mark, disappeared. He had gone to investigate noises at the edge of the woods, but was never seen again. The village's fear turned to panic. The Black Knife visitors were not just knocking, they were coming for everyone. The state police arrived to assist, but found nothing concrete, no footprints, no evidence, only the growing silence and empty homes. Nearby towns began to avoid Willow Creek altogether. People refused to talk about it, as if fear itself had infected their voices. A local historian uncovered ancient manuscripts buried deep in the village archives. They told of a curse placed centuries ago by a banished witch, angry at the villagers who condemned her. The curse spoke of the black nude children, spirits trapped between worlds seeking to reclaim what was lost by stealing the living. Paranormal experts visited and recorded strange electromagnetic pulses around the village. Low-frequency hums unsettled the equipment. Residents who remained began to suffer insomnia and terrifying hallucinations. They described black shapes moving just beyond sight, whispers crawling inside their minds. Willow Creek was slipping away, piece by piece, into darkness. Theories abounded. Some claimed the black-eyed visitors were supernatural, shadow beings trapped in limbo, hungry for life. Others whispered about government experiments on mind control and dimensional gateways gone wrong, and believed mass hysteria had twisted ancient folklore into modern nightmares. Emma believed the black-nosed children were more than myth. She suspected they were creatures from another dimension, using the veil between worlds to cross over. Every knock was a ripple in reality, erasing people from this world and pulling them into another. No one knew what awaited the missing, if they were dead, alive, or something else entirely. Emma stood at the edge of the village staring at the old Miller house. A single knock echoed through the stillness. She turned. 2 small figures stood at the gate. Children, pale-faced, their eyes pitch black. They whispered, "Let us in." The wind howled. The gate creaked open by itself. Emma's heart raced as the shadows drew closer. Behind her, the village fell silent. The black-eyed visitors had come home, and this time there would be no escape.